Welcome back to another episode of the True Growth Through Growth podcast. It's Latina, your mindset coach. And I want us to speak about something very briefly, but it's going to be potent. So, this episode is specifically for my mummies. So, the intention was for me to have this done because I got this download yesterday and upload it and have it ready for you guys on this beautiful Mother's Day. But I didn't get a chance to, and I returned after my day of Mother Day activities and Mother's Day activities and auntie things and all of the wonderful things that happened today. And the message is still very heavy on my heart. So I'm going to share it. Here's my message to you. Well, let me back up a little, right? Now, this is very vulnerable. My grandma, right? She turned 79 a few days ago. Happy belated birthday, Granny. And she's, of course, the matriarch of our family. I value her opinion. I value her perspectives. I admire her. She's such a woman of worth. She is grounded in her spirituality. And, I always think of her as one of the most important women in my life. All right. Anywho's, so my grandma, I was speaking to her a few days ago, and of course, when you speak to your grandparents, most of us, there's usually a point where they begin to minister to us, right? Where they start to share those words of wisdom. So my grandma said, Tina, I need to tell you, but you're holding on to a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. And if you continue doing that, you are going to block your abundance. So, of course, as usual, I'm there like, Granny, what pain and hurt? Because I know it's been years of me doing this work. And I feel as though I had let go a lot of things and a lot of people specifically who hurt me in the past, right? So it came up in that conversation. And I went over to another family member's house. And then she was like, listen, I need to tell you something, but don't take it too personally. So I was like, well, tell me. She's like, you're holding on to some pain and hurt and you need to let it go based on a situation that had happened some time ago at a previous family event. So I'm just there like, guys, like, what are you all talking about? Why you all keep referring to what pain and hurt? Because sincerely, guys, in my awareness, like I think that I'm okay. Like I sincerely believe that I'm okay. And I did a really good job at letting go certain things and certain people who had hurt me in the past. All right. So I said, you know what? This is coming up too much. Like, shit, this is coming up too much. I need to sit with this, right? Because, of course, if things are coming to your awareness or things are being brought to your awareness and it's being brought out of love, then you really need to sit with yourself and sit with those things and assess and reflect. All right. So your girl got to assessing and reflecting. And here's what I came to realize: the persons or situations that they say I had not forgiven, it's partially true. I have forgiven those people. I have forgiven and let go those situations. But guess who Latina did not forgive? And I did not even realize. I had no clue that what I had been holding on to for so long, that apparently they could tell off of being my family and being spiritually inclined so that they could see things at a deeper level, deeper than the surface, my surface way of being. And it's that I did not forgive myself. The energy that they would have felt in certain circumstances is as a result of the fact that I did not forgive myself. And the area of my life that I did not forgive myself is that of mothering, that of being a mommy. In my reflection, in my assessment, I realized that because of specific situations, certain relationships that failed, certain choices that was made, certain things that happened that sincerely needed to happen in order for me to grow and to become the woman that I am, there was shame and there was hurt and there was unforgiveness to me with me. So I did not realize after almost 8 years of being a mommy that there were things that happened within this last almost decade that I did not forgive myself for. And low key, I have been beating up myself because I felt as though if I made different choices, if I did things differently, then the impact would have been different as me as a mother, and the impact and effects would have been different for my daughter. Now, your ego has a way of really making you feel shitty, right? Like it basically does this thing where it highlights all the not so good things. It showcases all the parts where you messed it up. It showcases all the parts where you could have done it better. It showcases where it's not good enough. It showcases where work needs to be done. And very rarely does it highlight how awesome you are and how amazing you are doing with what you have and how much you've grown and how much you've changed. Very rarely it does that. And so, of course, the realization that the energy that they were feeling off of me when they say, Latina, you need to let go of that hurt and pain. And the hurt and pain was not me being unforgiving towards other people, it was me being unforgiving towards myself as a mother. Now, of course, if you're listening to this, you may be like, well, Tina, you're like a shitty mommy. The truth is, no, I'm not. I will boldly say across the globe here, I'm a fucking good ass mommy. But of course, as a mommy, things would have happened in your life, relationships, certain things would have happened that, believe it or not, impacts your children. And I think what makes this harder for me is because at a psychological level, at an emotional level, I am fully aware because of my background, I guess, and because of my own healing journey, the impact certain things create for children in their future, things that happen in their childhood that impacts them as an adult, right? And I guess because I'm aware of that, I basically held myself at even greater standard, at an even higher standard, perhaps in these realm of perfectionist, some standard in terms of my parenting. And so because of that, it would have felt for a lot of my parenting journey so far, and it's only been 8 years or almost 8 years, my parenting journey so far, that I did not reach this specific standard, this in inverted commas, ideal, perfect standard of mothering. And with that revelation that I had a few hours ago or yesterday, in terms of that forgiveness, I just wanted to hop on here and share it with you because I know at a soul level that I am not the only woman who feels as though she could have done better. She could have made different choices, that she should have known better. And I think a lot of what came up for me through my reflection was this, how could you not know that? How could you not know that so that you could have done that? Like, how could you have not known that and still, like, how could you not know? Because, like, you're a smart woman. How could you not know? How could you not see? How could you not understand? Like, how could you not, right? And there was simply just a lot of unforgiveness within myself that I clearly did not realize that existed, right? Because I knew certain situations, certain things, like I let them go, I let the people go, I let the things go, and I'm like, okay, good, kumbaya. But as a mother, it is painful to see your child have painful experiences, to see your child experience loss, to see your child cry, to see your child hurt. And um, if you guys like to listen to podcast episode, you get to choose, I think that's the name of the episode, you may have some deeper clarity in terms of what it is I'm speaking about, right? So I'm just saying here, if you're a mom, if you're in a relationship, if your daughter's or child or children's parent, other parent is not around, and you notice that, it does affect your child, it does hurt your child, and you may feel guilty, and you may be like, well, how you end up in this shit show? Like, how did you end up, as much as you would have probably forgiven the person and you would have let it go and you're over that situation, but because of your journey and your awareness of the impact of, probably another absent parent, for example, and you know that it is hurtful, it is painful, even if the child does not express it or show it, but you have this awareness that, there would be a negative impact to some degree in their adulthood, and you feel bad about that. Like, I'm just here to tell you, forgive yourself, like shit, like forgive yourself sincerely. If you are married and you guys divorced and it end up in a, however that turned out, and you feel guilty, if you're a woman who are building a business and you realize that, my God, you're spending so much time um and you wonder, oh my goodness, like how, like what is wrong with you? Why can't you spend more time with your child? If you are in a situation where financially you may be having a difficult time and you feel guilty because you're like, hey, these kids didn't come here, like they didn't ask to come here, and you should be able to provide in a particular way and do particular things, and the list could go on and on and on, right? So as I did my reflection and as I did my assessment, there was a lot of grieving to do. There was a lot of letting go to do. There was a lot of also acknowledgement that I am a good fucking mommy. Like I am a good mother. And I sincerely, in the past, have done the best that I could with what I have. And as I do this work, the more I do this work, the more I get to know myself, the more I get to make better choices, because when you know better, you do better. And the more healing and self work I do on myself, the greater and better the benefit would be for my child. And so the same I'm sharing with you. If you're on your self-love journey, if you're on your self-discovery journey, if you are in your inner healing and inner work journey, if you're doing the work in order to support yourself and to reparent yourself, trust that you are doing enough. You're a good mother. You are enough. Your children love you dearly. If you have a child and the child may have behavior problems, or just doing the most and they just seem like a lot for you, I'm letting you know that you did not fail as a mother. You are not a shitty mommy. You did not fuck it up. You didn't. All right. You sincerely didn't. And I have not heard, to be very honest, conversations around this in terms of Mother's Day celebration. I usually hear, just happy Mother's Day and how strong a woman is, etc., etc. And I just wanted to say that this part of being a mother is most definitely existent. And I want you, all of the days almost at the end for Mother's Day, I want you tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, to choose to forgive yourself for the way certain things would have turned out, to forgive yourself for some decisions that you would have made. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And really celebrate the efforts that you do day by day, the sacrifices that you make, the tears that you shed, the things that you put up with because you sincerely love your children. As I do this work, I have realized that you come to a point of healing when you acknowledge that people did the best that they could with what they had. They did the best that they could at that point in time with what they had. And if I could give that grace to my own parents, if I could give that grace to other people in my life, if I could give that grace to other people who would have hurt me, or it's just generally, if I could lend that same compassion to other people, then why can't I lend it to myself? Why don't I deserve to? And the baseline is I deserve to. I deserve to give myself that same grace, that same compassion, to acknowledge, hey, within the last almost decade of me being a mother, I have done the best that I could have with what I had at that point in time. In hindsight, of course, I may say, my God, that was some shit that you did there. But the point of healing, or when you've gotten to that point of healing, is when you're able to acknowledge and forgive that, okay, you did the best that you could with what you had at that point in time. And so I'm sharing this message to whichever mommy, whichever daddy, whoever listens to this and you fully resonate. Everything that you've done until this point is enough. I'm telling you, every single thing you've done until this point is enough. And you have done the best that you could have with what you had at that point in time. So now that we're in a new day, we're in a new moment, you get to sincerely acknowledge that, thank it, forgive it, love it, and then decide, hey, you know what, moving forward, I am going to embody and celebrate and acknowledge how awesome you are in terms of what you are doing. And if you know fully well that there are choices and decisions that you are making right now, or habits that you're engaging in right now that does not make you feel as though you are doing enough, then as always, you have a choice to change it. So this was basically my Mother's Day revelation slash word to you. As a mommy, you're doing an amazing job. As a mommy, you are doing an amazing job. And I just want to remind you that you are enough. Everything that you've done until this point is enough. Everything that you've done in the past was the best that you could have at that point in time with what you had. And you get to forgive yourself and you get to let things go and you get to be in this present moment and celebrate how far you've come, how much work you've done, and get to acknowledge how much your children love you. All right. So I love you. Happy Mother's Day. And even if you get this after Mother's Day, I just want you to celebrate yourself every day as though it was Mother's Day. I love you guys so much. And I will chat with you soon. Bye bye. All right.